I think tonally it's even more off the wall than like Golden Kamuy is off the wall like all the time.
Yeah, because it's a man hunting for skin, essentially for gold.
I
Like,
mean,
it's
when you put it that way. Well, hello, and welcome back to Gateway to Anime. How are you all? What's going on? We are the podcast where we throw open the gates to anime, where we deep dive into the classics and bring you the best new anime, and that's exactly what we are doing today. I'm your host, Sam. Charlie, how you going?
I'm good. I'm going well. I'm excited to talk about some upcoming anime. I'm really ready for a new season, I think.
Yeah.
You know, a bit ready for it. There's some exciting ones, so I can't wait to talk about them, and I can't wait to predict some of the worst. Like, I'll be like, this is the best show ever, and then I'll watch it and it'll be terrible. I've got plenty of those that I don't know, so I look forward to chat about it.
Marvelous. Graham, how are you, my friend?
yeah, same, good. I just need this season to die. I need to forget about it because it's been trash after trash. But the next season, so much to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yes. So we are here today to do a quick little roundup of the summer season that's just gone and bring you all the very exciting new prospects that await us in the fall 2024 anime season. But before we jump into that, I just want to say a huge thank you to this episode's sponsor, Makari. Check out the link in our bio, and we'll be back later in our episode to talk about it a little bit more. You can, of course, find us on Instagram, TikTok, and hopefully you're watching us on YouTube. Otherwise, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. And if you really like what we're doing, you can leave us a review. It can be on Apple and or Spotify. Really does make a big old difference. If you really like what we're doing, check us out on Patreon. We do extra episodes, we do early releases and behind the scenes footage. We're starting to build a really nice community over there, so you can join for as little as $1.50 a month. Head over to the Patreon, look us up. Okay, so today we're going to have a little quick roundup of the season that's just gone. Then we're going to dive deep into this next season. So, guys, fair to say, for one of the, we often go like, this season looks a bit weak. And often we're proven wrong. This time, sadly, we were right. Weak season. Really weak season.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
There were some hidden gems
Yes.
that we didn't pick up in the episode that we did our hype up for last season. And I think that we brushed over, only at the end was so we're going to say our favorite picks, and then we're going to move on pretty quickly to hype up because we want to get onto the new stuff. But my favorite two picks of the season were actually the ones that I kind of at the end of the episode went, oh yeah, and there's this as well. I was like, oh yeah, there's this thing called Elusive Samurai. Don't know what that is. Read it quickly, was like, oh, sounds good, and then forgot. And then the other one, which we made fun of, and then I loved it, was Wistoria. So the two, it just goes to show, I don't know how to read a synopsis and actually have any taste. So
Don't tell them that.
None of us taste.
so we can see. But it was, it's fun to watch. And other things I couldn't really get behind. I did watch I watched the Out of Focus, the Blue Out of Focus one, which is a queer love story one. I did watch a bit of that and kind of got mostly because it was about a film nerd, and they had heaps of homages to random films. So I don't know if I was watching it for the usual reasons people would watch a romance drama, but
or just Easter eggs.
Yeah, it had some
Easter eggs, the anime.
I thought it had some zazz to it. I was like, there's a bit of some editing, fun. They kind of went a bit stylistic with it, so that was a bit of a pleasant surprise. Anyway, those are my two picks. Wistoria because of the art design, and I freaking loved the way that it looked.
It looked amazing.
It looked
really
like
did.
a clamp style design. It looked very old school anime. Very cool, very well, fluid. All the action was great. I enjoyed the characters. I thought that was a really good one. And Elusive Samurai, I'm sure Sam wants to talk about. So, and you both probably want to talk about. So quickly go to that.
Well, Elusive Samurai was my underrated gem of the season. I thought it was fantastic. Now, obviously, some criticism leveled at it because some episodes had some really stodgy CGI out of nowhere.
Wasn't
But
that bad.
It's pretty bad.
It
but at the same
wasn't
time,
that bad. I've seen better. I've seen worse bears.
We've certainly seen worse bears.
Yeah.
But it was just sort of inexplicable sometimes because they go from some of the most experimental, quite extraordinary animation to why does a guy riding on a horse look like he's out of a PlayStation 2 game? What's
But
this?
I feel like you said, they did so much.
Yes.
There was so many different art styles, so many different animation techniques. I feel like you're batting 1,000. So I'm just gonna it's a horse. It's
Look, it
fine.
didn't bother me too much. I
Yeah.
thought it was great. I think really experimental, very unhinged, as that author is prone to write.
Yeah.
Assassination Classroom is a wild ride, and so is this.
It was breakneck at some points. It was like the most gory thing you've ever seen. Then it was all happy, like shonen-esque frolicking, and then like complete horror and people's faces getting chopped into cubes. It was breakneck.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it. It was certainly unhinged. Gave you some sort of Golden Kamui type vibes.
Oh,
and like the
100%.
kind of like almost whiplash of the tone. I think
Yeah.
even more, I think tonally it's even more off the wall than like, Golden Kamui is off the wall like all the time.
Yeah, because it's a man hunting for skin, essentially for gold. Like, it's
When you put it that
you know,
way.
I mean, they mix in some like some of the native foods, like oh, this is how they make the fish, and then it's like abstract horror of skinning people.
I mean,
So, I mean-
so this certainly, this is obviously a historical drama, very fictionalized, in some insanely violent sequences, but like one of those sort of like, yes, my anime blinkers might be up a little bit on a show like this, but at the same time, sometimes I do like the more bombastic, unhinged bits of media that come out of Japan, but I have a line, obviously a hard line, which is what this podcast is all about. But that one, I was like, okay, just walk me up to the line, and I was like pretty happy to go with it. I was like, this is crazy, but I'm here for it.
The
I enjoyed it.
animation, obviously, I think was most impressive is that the main protagonist has a thing where he's basically just really good at running away and hiding.
just- yeah.
So he's running and I think that, and I am not an animator, I'm not at all. So I can't really speak to this, but I know that like getting running as an animation and the way that they kind of animated him was particularly impressive. I think that's what most people were really like taken
Fluid,
with that.
I guess.
Yeah, it was a fluid like running sequences and the motion.
Especially when
they
you've
had
got
behind
people
it.
trying to catch them constantly as well, and like you're going through objects, over objects, people trying to catch them. I think it's great.
Yep, I was a big fan.
I mean, compared to like the rest of the flaming garbage this year.
yeah,
I didn't watch enough, honestly, and and that says a lot. Like I'll watch anything at this point, and I kind of
Anything.
yeah, pretty much. And for being honest, I couldn't bring myself to watch more than 3 episodes of most things, and
Yeah.
couldn't get into the deer one, the girl that's a deer.
oh yeah.
It just was too much energy for me, and I think I was watching it, and I was just like, this is a lot. It's a lot to take in, you know. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'll come back years later and be like, I have been wrong about this deer girl, and this is the greatest anime ever made. Like it could happen, but
Greatest piece of fiction ever.
yeah, I couldn't get behind it. So sorry if you love this season. Please let us know if we missed anything. We probably have, but there's nothing really took off, and nothing was really talked about by things that I listened to or people I kind of talked about anime that made me kind of go yes. So I, for one, am looking forward to the fall season.
So obviously there was Oshinoko, season 2. I didn't watch it because I didn't watch the first one.
I need to catch up. I haven't watched that one yet. So that's on my to watch list for sure. Happy to binge that one day. It's a lot like the tone of that show is also wild in terms of like how it kind of ended up to where we're at in the series. And I don't think that Oshinoko ever quite reached the heights that its pilot gave in season 1. I felt like I had a real drop. So to get back into it, I'm going to have to like really have a moment and watch it. But it is good. It's definitely worth watching the first season anyway. So I'll give the second season a go.
I obviously have been returning every week to My Hero Academia. I've been enjoying it. You know, I've been along for the ride the whole time. That's been the one I've been sort of most looking forward to, apart from Elusive Samurai. We'll just say Tower of God, horribly disappointing. What the hell did they do to that?
It wasn't the first one similar vein as well. Like,
First one was like good, man. People liked it. And it was a
Okay.
very bold animations, like style choice they did, but they tried to make it deliberately old looking.
It was like muted colors
Muted
and like
colours.
a pastel, not pastel's the wrong word, but like I
Yeah,
really
but
don't
like,
know
sort of
that colors.
sloppy lines, like, you know, sort
And
of
like,
sketchy.
yeah.
yeah.
I think that's why I couldn't get into the first one.
Well, whatever they did in the second one was heaps worse.
Oh,
man.
okay.
Like, they tried to like up the sort of scale and make it cleaner, and it looked just the animation, like speaking of fluidity with the animation of Elusive Samurai. Man, this looked like fucking shit, dude. Like I stopped, and I was like,
Okay.
I know the world builds like, and I mean, everyone's just been like calling for. Everyone's just been like, what happened? Why wish we didn't get a season 2? That's
worry.
how bad it's been
Right.
received.
Okay.
Man.
Don't worry, Mumwa. We'll do it one day. We'll get a good anime adaptation, and Omniscient Reader, it's gonna be the one.
Well,
No, it isn't.
If I-
Let's move on.
But I will say, also that anime that I referenced before is called Twilight Out of Focus. So
Twilight out of focus.
yes,
Okay.
which is like it wasn't bad. It was like kind of a slow. I enjoyed the kind of the way that they treated the romance, and like it was more like an adulty kind of. It was a proper romance. It was good.
Interesting. Yeah, but obviously, as we've said, weak season. It was a very weak season, very thin, and lacked, apart from Oshi no Ko, which none of us watched, a heavy hitter. So interesting.
Before we go any further with this episode, let's give a quick shout out to today's episode sponsor, Mercari. Mercari is a marketplace where you can choose where you shop from. So you can just select Japan and know the items are coming directly from Japan. With Mercari X Japan, you can shop the drop. Just head onto the website. It's super easy to navigate and you can find anything you like there. You got collectibles, anime figurines, manga, clothes, pottery, whatever you want. You can find it there. Shop the drop. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. You can check them out. The link's in the bio. That's Mercari, and happy shopping.
Right, so let's dive in to this new season coming. There is some massive heavy hitters returning, and none more so than one of my favorites and yours, Graham.
I love it.
ReZero Season 3 is about to arrive. Now, by the time this video comes out, there will probably be a big old recap made by us on our YouTube channel. If you want to catch up on ReZero before Season 3, check it out. It will be on our YouTube channel. If not at the very time that this releases, very soon.
It will be 4 hours long as well, so heads up. Because a lot's going on.
Well, also, I just want to quickly, before we move on from this, obviously ReZero, very exciting. Now, I actually had a thought today when I was prepping for this episode, is that, funnily enough, we started this podcast in 2020, right?
Oh, yeah, we did.
And
Yeah, we did.
ReZero Season 2 came out in 2020. It's been a while. It's been a long time. And we talked a lot about ReZero. In fact, when we had Brett back on the podcast back in the early days, for those of you who don't know who this specter is, we did have a different guy on this podcast early on who Charlie and I were leading through the world of anime. And funnily enough, of all the shows that I showed Brett, ReZero was his favorite. ReZero was his favorite.
Oh, he said that man had taste.
Yes. So, look, I think ReZero is incredible. Just a real TLDR. It is an isekai, but it does something different than normal isekai. Essentially, the lead character is transported into this new world. He appears to have no real power, but he accepts it instantly. He's not one of those guys who's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? He's like, yes, a new world, me. What power will I have? He fully embraces it. Anyway, it turns out he has essentially the power of suffering, because what
Boy,
happens
does that
in the
man
show,
suffer.
my God, does that man suffer, because his power is called Return by Death. And what that means is whenever he dies, he can rewind, and he sort of ends up having these save points. So every time he sort of moves forward with his life in this new world, his save point will move accordingly. So he can't always go back to the very start of his journey. It does shift, which of course means there are some parts he can't go back and fix. Now, what this means is his real power, honestly, is his perseverance, right? Because in many ways, he does get involved in one of the big sort of A-plot stories of the world, and he gets right up in everyone's business. He can't help himself. And my God, in the process, does he suffer, because the only way, again, he has very, very few natural gifts of power. He gets a little bit of magic, but nothing serious. Enough that he can kind of do the most low-level spell possible.
Yeah.
But his only real way of being useful to the person that he sort of ingratiated himself to, is trying to become the king of the kingdom, is by basically just dying a whole bunch and learning things while he dies, and then using that information to move.
It's Groundhog Day isekai.
Yeah. But set in this amazing fantasy world. The world building is rich. It is complicated. Having writing this recap video, it's a complicated world, and obviously many different timelines, but it's just extraordinary. I honestly believe that this is one of my top 5 animes of all time, and I love it, and I cannot wait for it to return.
It's really good, but it's definitely not a comfort watch. I find it it's genuinely sort of like an existential, harrowing experience, and I think that that's what makes it really great, because I think a lot of things that do the reset ability, or even the death, the repeat by death, even Edge of Tomorrow, those things that do that, don't actually highlight how horrific
Traumatic.
that would be. And also his experience of him, having to go back and then knowing things about people and then having them not remembering him, and him having it's all very complicated. I think quite a strangely realistic look at this highly unrealistic story. Also, was this one of the first big instances of truck gun? One of the first ones, one of the big ones.
Wasn't killed by a truck.
Yes, he was.
Just walks across the street and gets transported.
I mean, come on, you can use your
between the lines,
imagination, Sam. It was truck.
He's not, I mean, it's
What?
Heart attack.
Is this one of those fucking Mandela effects? Because I swear to God that Truck Gun is in that. I've just put Truck Gun into every single.
No.
Wow.
I just wrote an
remember
8,000
that.
word recap on this thing.
Was the first 4,000 about why there's no truck gun?
I think this show's gone down in my books, to be honest. I'm not excited to rewatch
Yeah.
it.
It's not as
I've been lied
prestigious
to.
as before. Like,
it could be alluded to, but no, he's not as if it's not like his Konosuba where he's like run over by a tractor.
Konosuba.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
But you could infer that it's Truck-kun. But yeah, no.
I think I swear to God, I have this whole scene in my head, like the whole thing. Anyway, that's fine. I can obviously figure this out by watching it again. And I'm like, we'll never know.
recap.
We'll never know. Yeah. Oh, I'll be watching the recap.
Available on
I'll be,
YouTube.
You edit it.
I'll be editing the recap, so I'll know. I'm gonna put the truck in there. Just to fuck with you. I'm gonna be like, hey Sam, like this is the clip, and it's just an actual truck. Like it's not even animated. It's just like
Just the truck you filmed on
I
the
just
street.
filmed my iPhone fucking portrait. Like
Why does it say Woolies on the side of it?
yeah. Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, Graham, obviously you and I, when we first, when we were working together back in 2020, and we were talking about doing this podcast, and you were sort of, coming on board, and like me and you really started, we watched the show together quite a bit, and
We
talked,
did,
it was
actually,
like, this whole thing. So I am so excited about this. This is like, even if nothing else was happening this season, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
But my God, there's a few other things happening too.
Because it's been 4 years anyway.
4 years, and it was 4 years before that from season 1 to season 2 as well. It's like they take their time. And White Fox, the animation studio who are doing it, really do seem to care about this project and dedicate a lot of time and effort. So I'm really excited.
Which is good.
It is. All right, Gray, what's the other big hitter? The one we've also got a video out on YouTube which you can check
All right,
out.
I know the manga nerd of me should just be throwing myself into like Uzumaki because that's coming out. But like what I'm really hyped for is Dandadan.
Oi!
Probably spoke about this. It's in the same sort of vein as Monster Number 8 for me. It's the manga that I collect physically and I'm very excited for. It's sort of like a mash of genres. So it's about these two high school kids, one called Momo, who's sort of from a family of like psychics and spirit whisperers and stuff like that, and Okarun, who's like your typical outcast, like nerd who loves like, alien abductions and what you call those monsters like Loch Ness, they're called
Kaiju?
no, there's a specific term for them, like Bigfoot and all that sort of
like
stuff.
made up monsters.
Sure.
Made up monsters.
Sure.
As opposed to the very real ones?
Is it Truck-kun?
It's like
Like,
cryptids. He likes that
Okay.
sort of world of
Cryptids, all right.
stuff like that. And they sort of like somehow they come together and they're in an argument saying, well, like ghosts are real, and he's like, well, aliens are real. So they kind of like send each other off to like the most haunted building in Japan or the most like alien abduction sightings in Japan. Eventually they'll get like abilities based on those type of spiritual alien worlds, and it's about them sort of their adventures dealing with ghosts and aliens and spirits and spiritualism in Japan. And like it's really good. It's off the wall. I can't really describe very much, but I love their relationship as well. Like the will they, won't they kind of aspect of it. It's fun. I can't wait. And it's been done by Science Studios, I think it's called.
Science Sarah?
Yeah. And it looks fantastic.
Science Sarah have done some very good work.
Like I think if they capture the energy of the manga in it, I think it's going to be like a certified hit.
this one's been hyped up by everyone. This one's got the most like steam behind it, I think, this season. People are really excited, so I'm keen to check it out.
I'm nervous.
It's a bit nerve-wracking, right? But I think Science Sarah are pretty good. Like you're going to be all right. You're going to be fine. Also, Creepy Nuts are doing the opening.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. So
That's
if we've
fantastic.
got anything to go by, that's going to be good at the very least. So even if you hate it, you can just turn it off after that and be like, what a good show.
For those of you who've never seen Mashal Season 2, and again, average show, but my God, is the opening sequence by the band Creepy Nuts extraordinary. If you haven't watched it or listened to it,
It's something like
listen to it right
the
now.
6th highest streamed anime song of all time. Like a
Okay.
list,
It
a list
should
came out
be
today.
number one. Like,
But I think, like, considering some of them are like Naruto themes, it's like
Yeah.
number 4. I'm like, that's insane.
I
It's like 960 million listens or something.
I think they're all Sam, to be honest.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man, I was in a karaoke bar, a one-piece themed karaoke bar in Osaka earlier this year, and the bartender pulled this song out, and everyone
Everyone
was
went
just
nuts.
going nuts, and I was like, now this is culture. All right, Charlie, what are you excited for?
So this one, I'll talk about ones that are like, actually people are looking forward to, not ones that just I'm looking forward to. But this one is Blue Box. Not to be
Oh, yeah.
confused with Blue Lock, which is also coming back.
Also coming back,
which we
which-
can quickly talk about. Blue Lock season 2 coming at you hot. We've got a recap video if you guys want it. We're in the business of recapping.
We just
It's
recap
our new
everything.
business model.
But we've got a
Recaps,
recap
baby.
video that sums up season 1 and then leads up to episode Nagi, which is a movie that came out that is essentially just pretty much season 1 told from the point of view of another character in the show, Nagi. It's kind of worth the watch.
Both of their English voice actors as well. You can check it on YouTube
Wow.
as well.
Wow. Sorry.
We'll have a
anyone
recap about that interview coming out soon as well.
Basically, yeah. You want to say something about Blue Lock before I get on to Blue Box?
I mean, Blue Lock is obviously, it's like, I'm sure you've heard of us speak about it before. It is Lord of the Flies meets Squid Game meets soccer. I mean, it's outrageous, it's bombastic, it's ludicrous. It is, Japan keep losing at the Soccer World Cup, and this scientist is basically brought in to help them win it. And he has this grand idea of building this ridiculous facility where he's going to create the ultimate striker.
So good.
And he puts all these, like, you know, high school age kids through this like ludicrous training program where they all just
Tortures.
need to become the most egotistical, like, goal hungry striker who ever lived, because that's how you win World Cups, damn it.
Yeah.
And that's the show. And honestly, it's so much fun. It is so much fun. I love it.
This idea isn't so crazy. I think Australia should have done this for breakdancing.
I think they did.
All right.
Certainly would have saved us a little bit of
That's
face.
like if the
and old
mad
Reagan.
scientists just like entered themselves into the World Cup. Like that's what it was.
competition.
Actually,
Enter
just a good
themselves.
question. Is his name Ego?
Yes, his name's Ego. yes.
Ego, of course it is. Ego from Blue Lock. Is he a soccer player himself, or he just loves? He just,
I think he's
so.
no.
like, I don't actually know. I was
No, I
like,
haven't
He's
quite-
just
How
the
did you get
stats guy, right?
Yeah.
yeah, just like the ultimate stats nerd.
Yeah, I
Like
was
the money ball of Japanese soccer.
yeah, okay.
So
With infinite like resources.
just scarring children. You'll never play for Japan. They're like 12.
Anyway, Blue Lock's a lot of fun. You got to check it out if you're into sports anime, or if you just like a really good over the top like capital A anime good time. So check it out.
Okay, so Blue Box is also a sports anime, but from all accounts is not anything like Blue Lock. I think it's a bit more on the slice of lifey kind of atmosphere. I've heard a lot about this manga. People absolutely love it. It is a
people love it,
shonen. It is a shonen. So people are kind of, I think it's released in Shonen Jump. Very, very popular. In fact, our guest last week mentioned it as one of their favorites. I'll read you the synopsis courtesy of my anime list. Taiki Inamata, a third-year student in junior high, attends Aimi Academy, an integrated school with a major sports program. Having joined the high school badminton team, Taiki tries to attend open practice as early as possible, but no matter how early he goes, he always arrives second in the gymnasium. The person one step ahead of him is Chinatsu Kano, a first-year student in senior high, and Taiki's crush. Chinatsu is a rising star of the basketball team, and the gap between her and Taiki could not be greater. Although Taiki is a decent badminton player, his popularity is nowhere near Chinatsu's, making it even less likely for his feelings to be reciprocated. However, in a strange twist of fate, she ends up living in Taiki's house. Did not see that bit coming.
Classic.
There you go.
Classic
Wanting to become a worthy match for Chinatsu, Taiki pursues the same dream as his crush to partake in the nationals. Taiki starts training harder than ever before, and all for the sake of building a strong relationship with his new housemate. Meant to be really fantastic. It is based off a manga, as I said, really popular. It sounds like a romance sports, and we love that. I'm sure. I'm keen for some badminton.
Hell yeah.
Like, I think that sounds sick. Studio is Telecon Animation Film, who are most famous for doing Lupin the Third, and I think Tower of God season 2, but I think so. Either 1 or 2. Anyway, but yeah, Lupin, all of the Lupin movies and all of the shows. So that's a pretty amazing credit. Yeah, this is one that's going to be really popular. Yeah, give me a slice of life, high school sports. It sounds earnest. You're going to love it. It's going to be great.
I'm very excited for this, yes.
Cool.
Obviously, Bleach is coming back. 1,000 Year Blood War is coming back again.
Yep.
Very exciting. We did get a little bit more anime original content in this last adaptation.
We really did.
Which was cool. So I'm really excited.
And it was good. Like it was good.
It was
good
really
ads.
good. So I'm excited to hear and see the new season of Bleach, of course, one of the big 3, getting not a remake, because it actually was never made because they just stopped making it.
Oh, I just hope it keeps going on forever.
Yes, but to bring it back with the new studio, well, it's the same old studio, but they're giving it the absolute business, and it looks
It's
amazing.
2024. It's
2024.
It's not
Bleach.
2004. Like it's up to snuff.
Yeah, and it's absolutely brilliant. Graham and I are huge fans of
can't
this.
wait.
Yeah, so much
Because
fun.
I know where it's going to end. I don't give a shit. I'm just along for the ride. So
Yes.
I can't wait to see some more bankais
Yep.
and like fully animated. Yeah,
It's
I
very
don't know how much longer they've got. Like
This might be it. No,
don't-
maybe
they'll probably get
one
another-
more after.
No, they'll get
maybe.
this and then 3 movies,
Oh, as is tradition.
as is tradition. now,
Indeed.
yeah.
Now, well, Graham, why don't you talk to us about Uzumaki?
Yeah, you can catch our breakdown of Uzumaki on the YouTube channel.
I'm
It's a
sorry.
really great video.
This season is just like it's just full of our like random YouTube video essays. That's why we like it. We're like, oh
worked
my
out
god,
perfectly.
we're finally relevant.
Yeah. We've discussed Uzumaki lots and lots and lots. It's a horror manga. I'm forgetting the name of the author right now because my brain is frazzled.
Junji Ito.
Junji Ito. A town becomes obsessed with the concept of spirals, and that might not sound horrifying, but I think Junji Ito is such an amazing writer that he actually makes you scared of circles. Is this the second time it's been done?
There's a live action movie.
There's a live action.
But no, this hasn't been done
Right, okay.
before. And it's been kind of like being teased as a series. Like people didn't think it was ever going to come out. It's been like so delayed. It's like an Adult Swim co-pro as well. And then when I actually got like a date, I released, and it happened recently that suddenly we're just like, you know, it's coming out. It was meant to come out last year, like the year before, and then suddenly it's just
remember.
like September, and everyone was like, "Oh shit!" Like Uzumaki's actually happening.
No.
And the trailer looks
It
incredible.
looks great because it's like really lifted from the manga. It's all black and white. It all looks like his art just leapt off the page rather than like a colorful adaptation. So I mean, it's going to be good. I'm scared.
His works haven't been well adapted
Yeah, this is my
before.
kind of fear.
Yeah.
Do they translate to an anime or a live action, or are they just scarier on the page? Like, I don't know.
I think maybe Uzumaki will be a better one because it's like a whole full story, whereas the other one was like the Junji Ito collection. So it was like a small anthology, which I think sometimes are
Netflix,
harder
right?
to... Yeah, and it just didn't quite have the same creepy factor. Like it's still creepy, you don't get me wrong, but like it didn't quite capture the essence.
I guess it comes down to that thing is animation scary? Like, I don't know. Like, horror anime is tricky.
We've talked about this before on our
Yeah.
horror episode. Obviously, yeah, it is very interesting because like considering Japanese horror is such a genre, you know, in manga and in film, and the anime is like there's not as many as you think.
Is it maybe just the nature of the medium because it is drawn?
It's a good
I don't
question.
like
I
it.
don't
Miss
know.
you missed that sort of visceral, sort of
Maybe.
real horror movie aesthetic. I don't know. I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah.
It's like video games have scared me a lot before.
Video games are terrifying.
Yeah,
Obviously,
and they're
that's
kind of, you know,
the
they're
whole genre.
animated or so I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess you're playing it.
You're
though, so
actually
it's more
doing
interactive,
actions,
right?
yeah.
And a lot of them are from the first person, so it's like very, very all encompassing, I suppose. But I don't know. I mean,
Jump scare kind
the
of
jump scare thing,
yeah.
like Resident Evil, of course, one of my favorite games.
Oh,
series of all
traumatized me.
time.
I never got by the first time you see a zombie in that movie and he's just eating a body and it turns around.
Turns around.
Yeah, iconic.
I don't know. I was like, I didn't play it for 15 years. Like, I was just like, nah. Like, nah.
To me, it was Silent Hill.
Oh,
Yeah, Silent Hill was a good one.
brilliant series. Yes. I mean, yeah, with Silent Hill as well. Obviously, Junji Ito was meant to write the game which they pulled.
Of
He was
course.
going to write it. I think Hideo Kojima was going to direct it. It was going to be like the thing.
I would never have played it, but I was looking forward to other people telling me about it.
It was
Yeah.
going to be insane.
Like,
So I mean,
I am a
it's
giant pussy when it comes to games like that. I'm not good at
just a
horror
real
games.
shame we never got that, but would have been fascinating. And also, of course, part of the key creative team with Uzumaki, which we do have here for those of you watching.
Smooth.
There we go. We've got
Check out our video on the breakdown of Uzumaki.
Colin Stetson is the composer who did Hereditary. You've seen that film, you know?
Yeah. That's a terrifying movie.
Yeah. Works a lot with like kind of sax and like really weird kind of tones and sounds and kind of eerie.
It's all it's
Wind.
all there.
Wind
Like it's
instruments.
all there to be
Yeah, we've got
great. All the pieces.
So this could be it.
This
This
could
could
be
be
it.
the scary one that scares us all.
It could be.
I'm just gonna go on and say I reckon it's gonna be good. I
You
think it's
reckon
gonna be
it's
good.
gonna be good?
Yes,
I
I
think
think it's gonna be
They
good.
put the time in. They put the time and the effort. They built the creative team. Oh, fingers crossed. Because also Junji Ito is like, weirdly, he is like a gateway fan. A gateway like.
He's a gateway fan.
He loves the
loves the
show.
podcast.
He loves our recaps.
Next week. Recap Junji Ito's career. He is a gateway for so many people who come into the medium through a completely different route, and that being the horror route,
Through the
obviously,
horror route,
right?
yeah.
And I've had a lot of people who I was not expecting to be anime fans be like, oh, Junji Ito. And I'm like, oh, yeah, oh, okay. Not Dragon Ball Z, not Pokemon. Oh, Junji Ito. Right, okay. That's left of center. So yeah, that is anyway. We're very excited about this. Fingers crossed. Charlie, what else do you got?
I'd heard rumors that this was happening, and I was just when I was looking at the season, I kind of just went far out. I can't believe they're redoing Ranma half. Have you ever?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
But it's coming out, and also not only that, it's Mappa.
Mm.
And I was
Not
like,
again, Nappa.
I was like, okay.
Jesus, give me
So
a
for
rest.
those of you who don't know what Ranma half is, it is a very old manga, and there's an old classic anime adaptation that's like honestly like no, I want to say 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
Very like off the wall comedy, like a full on comedy. I really wonder how this is gonna go for
Some
a modern
etchy vibes, though, isn't it?
yeah. So it's sort of like doing like there's a lot of shows that come from that era. So like Ranma half. There's also like there's a bunch of them that came out at that time that have that kind of like sexy like, but even though it's like he's a teenager, it's kind of a weird sort of like raunchy is the word, well not sexy, raunchy kind of comedy. It's a pure comedy though, and people loved it, and it's very popular. But there's also like GTO, Grand Theft,
Grand Theft Auto. Great Teacher Onizuka.
Great Teacher Onizuka, which is another one that like I don't think could probably be remade because it's so problematic.
So problematic.
But like I did love that show.
Classic.
I'll just read you the Ranma half synopsis, people who don't know. Sontendu runs the Tendo martial arts school, accompanied by his 3 daughters. One day, the sisters' lives are turned around when their father announces that he has promised one of them to be married to a fellow martial artist's son in the hopes of carrying the family legacy. In addition to their mixed reactions, when the fiancé arrives, the last thing the Tendo family expects is Ranma Satomi and his father, Genma. Ranma has been training in China with his father until an unfortunate accident changed them both. Now, when water touches them, Ranma turns into a girl and Genma into a giant panda. Ranma half follows Ranma as he attempts to get along with his newly betrothed, the youngest of the Tendo sisters, Akane, as the two begin to attend the same school. They deal with fellow friends and rivals, all of whom have something to say about their engagement. Yeah, so the main thing, I can't really remember the show that well, but I do remember the concept of like every time water touches him, he turns into a girl. And it's like obviously very confusing for everyone. And it's like all kind of like comedy of errors and everyone running around. And like, I'm not sure what if the show, like I don't want to recommend it because from memory, I think it was a little bit like, it was a lot, you know, a bit, but I also don't know. I mean, it is a classic for a reason, and it's renowned as one of the like best comedy mangas of all time, and has a huge following and is really influential in the world of comedy. So I'm interested to see. I'll give it a go for sure. Mappa often animate things well. They do, so I think it will look good. And I wonder if they're gonna like. I can't think of the style is so iconic. It's so that 90s like boxy kind of characters, you know, like kind of like Dragon Ball GT vibe, that sort of style. So I'll see how this goes. I'll give it a go. I think it's just interesting. I wonder, like, these classic remakes are, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what I think about it.
Well, they also did Urusei Yatsura.
Yes, which is a very
similar contemporary of Ranma back in the day. I mean, yeah, it's just really interesting that we've got, like, Urusei Yatsura and Ranma half all kind of being remade now.
Yeah. Well, it's the same mangaka who also did Inuyasha. So she's one of the most, like, iconic mangakas, female writers. So like they're all quite different. So her name is Rumiko Takahashi. And yeah, so obviously Inuyasha is a different vibe to Ranma half. And like that's why I think like it's like a bawdy, sexy, fun comedy, but it's not like super, I mean, it's a female writer. And it's like, it's kind of more just fun and a bit like zany comedy.
Interesting.
Straight comedy though. Yeah.
Yeah. You never read or watched Urusei Yatsura, did you?
No, but I have watched Inuyasha, of course.
Oh, yes,
which is
we do.
sick. We love Inuyasha. But in terms of like a lineup of manga to have written, I reckon that might be one of the best lineups. You know, like usually someone has like someone has, you know, like Bleach or like and that's it. Or like, sorry, no offense. No offense
to Tyke Kubo.
He's really upset with me right
now.
But
Burn the Witch, I'll have you know, is a great Still waiting for another volume.
To have those 3, which are like global phenomenons, like Ranma half's had 2, in fact 2 of them have had 2 adaptations. One's the most like beloved, one of the most like gateway animes for people in Inuyasha. Like they're 3 by their own right, iconic titles. So credit where credit is due. And now I see why they're adapting it.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, that's huge. All right, so I've got one slightly left of center from all the like big heavy hitters that we're all very excited about. No Miburu. All right, so this is an action historical samurai shonen. Tick, 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 tick. It's 1863, the twilight of the shogunate, and Japan is on the cusp of monumental change. The streets of the nation's capital are soaked in blood as political upheaval and rising tensions between masterless, wandering ronin and government samurai set the stage for one of the most turbulent times in Japan's history. Young orphan Neo is no stranger to the harsh realities of the world, and yet he can't help but cling to his burning passion for justice and desire to change the world for the better. One day, he crosses paths with two men who will become central figures of the coming revolution. Hijikata Toshizo and Okita Soji, two of the founding members of a group of hated ronin known as the Miburo, who would later become known as the Shinsengumi, who appear in so much Japanese media. Inspired by the efforts of the so-called Blue Wolves of Mibu, Niro decides to join the ranks and help carve a path to the world he wishes to see. But with new betrayals and reversals every day, will Niro be able to stay true to his conscience? I reckon if they animate this well, it could be really cool. Like samurai historical piece. Yeah, I reckon this could be really cool. I mean, basically it sounds like a kind of like political drama, but like when is it okay to commit war crimes and when is it, it's in service of an ideal? It sounds like he's going to be pushed into the brink of like, his morals and ethics. I reckon this is going to be cool. I don't know.
Cool.
Again, it could be a miss, but just something that jumped out to me outside. And I was like, oh, that could be something that I enjoy very much, and maybe y'all too. Anything else sticking out to you guys?
Yeah, I've got quite a few actually. So
I got two, but they're not important.
This one is just actually have read the source material for this.
A source material.
Source
reader.
material.
I've read the manga of this, and I can't believe that I have. So this is called Yakuza Fiance.
I can believe you've read this.
Just when I thought that maybe we were through this week's episode without Charlie having some cooked ass shit.
It's not that
the
bad.
prequel to Way of the House Husband.
Look, it's not that bad. It's actually I have read it, and it's
From cover to cover.
okay. Right. So, Yakuza Fiance. Yoshino Samae would have been a normal high schooler if not for the fact that she is the granddaughter of the leader of the Osaka-based Samae Group, the Kansai region's largest Yakuza organization. One day, Yoshino hurries home after hearing the news about the unification of Kansai and Kanto's biggest syndicates, the Samae and the Miyama groups. This, according to the article, will result in a marriage of the leader's grandchildren, one of whom is Yoshino herself. Despite her best efforts to annul the arrangement, Yoshino has to go to Tokyo to visit her fiancé, Kirishima Miyamo, who is unexpectedly nice and charming. During their first visit, Yoshino is swept up in various events and becomes unable to refuse moving to Tokyo, which is why, half a year later, she now lives with the Miyama group. At school, she soon realizes that Kirishima is very popular, so her relationship with him garners the hate by his fangirls and subsequently results in bullying. To make matters worse, Kirishima could not be further away from her Prince Charming since he, after all, was born to be a Yakuza member. So yeah, basically it follows her new life. He turns out to be like kind of a psycho.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, and like it's but like it's a sexy psycho, I guess. Like it's not this isn't
The
like
acceptable kinds.
yeah. I mean, it's just like it's I read it because it was called Yakuza Fiance, and I went, great, I'm reading this, and like the artwork looked nice. That's it, and I will end my case there. But I will say it's animated by Studio Dean, who have done a lot of things in the past, including the OG Fruits Basket and Vampire Knight. One of those is good. The other one is crazy. But I think
Which one, though? You decide.
You have to watch both of those and let me know. Yeah, how about you?
Couple of things here. There's another arc of Blue Exorcist.
There is, which is like you and 5 other people are watching.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that. The last arc was good. The Illuminati arc was good. I haven't finished it yet, but it scratched my. I'm not going to say Blue Exorcist itch, am I? Yeah. So this is beyond the Snow Saga. I haven't actually read this. This is beyond where I've actually got to manga. So I'm actually going to watch something I've never seen before, which is pretty exciting. I don't know if anyone else is going to watch it, but hey, I will. The only other thing is there is a new Dragon Ball series starting.
I saw this. Yeah. What's that about?
Dragon Ball Diama.
Yeah.
It seems to be going back to its like GT roots where they shrink Goku down to a child again.
Oh, right.
But the animation looks really good. So it's all that sort of chibi, tiny Goku kind of vibe, going out exploring the world. Interesting. So could be good, but I'm not the biggest Dragon Ball guy. I feel like we should ask what's his face, Kieran on. Yeah, I'm interested to see what Kieran thinks about this. It's probably gonna be best. He'll probably make us like it because that man's so passionate about Dragon Ball.
He did say, he did comment on our anime villains, saying that because we said that a lot of the villains in Dragon Ball are 2D, which I stand by. And he's like, I'd love to debate you. Maybe we'll get him on to debate that. Could do. Could be fun. Could be fun. This isn't even my final form. So. All right, Charlie, what else are you excited about?
So I just realised that there's a bit of an unfortunate theme that's coming along with the ones that I'm reading out right now. This one is called Nina, the Starry Bride. Like everyone is in arranged marriages or like kidnapped. And
Or
I'm
is
like,
dating
why? Am I,
psychos,
yeah,
like-
I can't. Anyway, Nina had a rough start to life, stealing to survive, and eventually being sold into slavery by her own brother. But to her surprise, her captor, Prince Azure, ordained that she would live the life of a princess, specifically that of a recently deceased princess priestess, Alicia. But despite her changing fortune, Nina won't give up her old life without a fight, and Azure might just be the one to finally match her wits. But how much can she trust Azure? And can she stop the feelings budding her heart knowing she must eventually marry another? Based off a manga, the studio is Signal MD, who did Platinum End and FLCL Progressive.
Oh, Platinum Man was so bad.
Well, never mind.
Well, no, that was also the writing.
But yeah, so I don't know. This is it's like a josei romance fantasy. So I was like, you never know. It could be great. I don't know. It caught my eye, and the manga art actually looked really beautiful. But I reading that, I'm kind of like, who really knows? Sam, there's actually a really heavy hitting second season returning that you haven't mentioned.
A very heavy hitting second season.
Like I'm surprised you've mentioned it.
What is that?
MF Ghost season 2.
It's back.
I did see that. I was like, oh no. The show that we confabulated into being something it wasn't even close to being.
So if you're new to this podcast, we one of our like misfires, we got really excited about MF Ghost, which is like a modern kind of redo spin-off of Initial D car racing. And we just got it in our heads it was gonna be this like amazing show. And then it wasn't like awful, it just wasn't great.
Just the
Wasn't as
It's
good as the idea we had.
We were
for
like,
the show.
oh,
Really?
so
We made a fan-
escape the infinity, but with
No,
cars.
we
We're
said it was Megalobox.
Megaloboxes. We'll have
We thought it was
we
gonna
just
be, like,
made this
grungy,
show up in our
like-
heads on the spot. I remember at the end, it was like it was a heavy hitting season. You're like, Sam, what are you most excited for this season? I was like, I reckon I might be MF Ghost. Hey. And then I watched the first episode. I was like,
the hell?
fuck is this?
We just
That's
just
the
like
so
fully-
boring.
just like the most delusional time. Like we were just like, this is it. Like
that's
we hyped
that's the
that.
high of the hype up. Like,
we wrote a show
Yeah.
in our brains
Oh, yeah, man.
out loud.
I'd watch that show.
I know.
Hey.
We wrote a better show.
Yeah,
MF
we did.
Ghost.
We did.
The reason I know that is because I was looking at this other anime and the same studio is doing that one. So this one is called You Are Miss Servant. Hitoyoshi Yokoyo is a high school student who currently lives alone. One day, an unfamiliar girl knocks on his door and offers to be his maid. She reveals that she is a former assassin, which makes Hitoyoshi nervous. But when her skills save him from being run over by a truck, Hitoyoshi ultimately decides to take her in. This has got everything in
Okay.
it. This has got everything
You know what?
in
By
it.
the end, there you got me.
Hang on. All right. However, the mysterious girl actually has no household skills. In fact, her only expertise is in assassination, as she has lived her entire life for the sake of killing. Nonetheless, her time with Hitoyoshi allows her to experience new emotions she never had felt before, inspiring her to become a regular girl. Boo. You were
That
way cooler
sucks.
before, like why?
Boo.
In order to advance towards this upcoming chapter in her life, she asks Hitoyoshi to grant her a new name, to which he names her Yuki. Having someone she can finally consider family, Yuki acquires new fond memories that fill her heart with warmth as she tries to leave her dark and lonely past behind. Yeah, you know what? I was on board for some reason, and then I got right off board again. But like maybe it's meant to be a comedy.
Maybe.
Based on a manga. I'm pretty certain Studio Felix Film, who are doing MF Ghost season 2. So they've got 2 big ones coming out this season. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, that sounds like I could actually like that show.
That could actually be really funny. That actually sounds like if it is a comedy and they do actually land,
Yeah.
like,
I worry about some things.
yes.
Maybe the
there's
show's
a-
called You Are Miss Servant. So like maybe we're not off. Like
Some red flags
I'm getting
already,
some
yeah.
red flags that,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
maybe it's a great deconstruction of gender roles in harem anime.
Did you just write a show that
Yes.
off the back of a show that we want it to be?
Absolutely. Anyway, this is another one that me and Gerald are gonna like. It's called 365 Days to the Wedding. Why have I got a wedding theme?
You're all over the place today.
I know. Okay, but this one's actually, it's based off a manga, again, quite a popular one, and it's a josei about adults who in a workplace. And you know me, I'm going to go absolutely
All right.
thank you.
You're ticking some boxes
Thank
already.
God
yeah.
for that. Miss Servant, get the hell out of here.
I watch anime for escapism. Just watching people getting married.
Charles, I'm in a workplace.
Ooh. They're getting married when? Jesus.
Also, like, there's just so many, yeah. Anyway, this one's Takuya and Rika are co-workers in a travel agency in Tokyo. They're both single, but they don't mind since they're introverts and have fulfilling lives at home. Yep. Great. Unfortunately, now their job is looking to staff an office in Siberia, and non-married employees are the first to be considered.
Fair.
Rika is desperate to avoid the transfer and goes to Takuya with an idea. If they pretend they're getting married in a year, they can stay in Tokyo. The only problem is the two of them barely know each other. If these two quiet co-workers fake a relationship, will it turn into something real? I feel like I could see this being like awkward, like beautiful, like a slow burn, romancy office thing about two people who are fake dating. And you know what? If you're a romance reader,
eventually,
and if you're a romance reader,
just write that.
Yeah, fake dating is a true.
That's like
trope.
I pronounce you Chuck and Larry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
They get married together.
It's actually an adaptation of that. You've got famous, yeah. But
how many people are in Siberia? Like, I need travel agents, but I guess you want to get out of Siberia, don't you?
You
need a travel agent.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Who's the travel agent in 2024 anyway?
Yeah.
The internet exists.
Do
There's
you
a
have anything else?
Mahjong one, which looks kind of interesting.
I hope it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! Like
Tuhai Urarate Mahjong Tuhai Roku. A lot of words. Not a lot of people know that one of the most talented and ruthless Mahjong players, because that's the term I always use for Mahjong players, is ruthless. One of the most ruthless Mahjong players in the city is a young high school boy. Kay is a teenager of few words, but his observation skills, unwavering will, and experience in the game allows him to survive in a world full of powerful, rich, and dangerous characters. Another thing that I always link to Mahjong.
Yeah. It's only old women in cafes. Like,
okay, now it gets weird. Kai is currently hiding a girl named Amina who has entered the country illegally and protecting her from being deported. He spends his days sleeping through class and his nights playing high-stakes mahjong, waiting for when a worthy opponent arrives. What the fuck is that about?
This might be the anime of the season.
So I thought that was going to be weirder than it was, and it actually ended up being kind of fine.
Like,
I was like, what?
Did you guys miss the thing where he has a girl living? Like,
no, but he's just hiding her so she doesn't get
deported.
It's not like he's hiding her.
Did you say he was a high school student?
Yeah,
they always are.
It's anime. Yeah,
I'm so confused.
I don't know what that was
If
about.
it's like-
Sounds crazy.
Who's animating it?
So, Eat Fish Studio.
Okay.
East Fish Studio, who I don't know much about their work. In fact, they've done not much at all. Things that I've never seen
I might actually
before.
watch this.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean,
It's
Mahjong's pretty sick, actually. And I
sounds
feel like it would be cutthroat.
crazy enough to work.
I want it to be so over the top. I want to be like, I want Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh! To appear in it. Like,
Look, I don't know,
I
man.
want wild stuff to happen.
You know these hype ups. We like to pick some wild ones. We'll see what happens there.
Anime this season.
Okay, let's talk about something that is actually animated by someone who's very famous. This is Madhouse.
Madhouse
Here we
back.
go. This is called Trillion Game. Meet Haru Tenoji, a charismatic communicator beloved by all, regardless of age or gender. He may come across as easygoing, but beneath that facade lies an unwavering ambition for success. When offered a prestigious position at the nation's largest IT company, Dragon Bank, he does the unexpected, turning it down in favor of embarking on an entrepreneurial journey alongside his friend Manaba Taira. Their audacious objective, to amass a staggering $1 trillion. Now, let's introduce Manabu, a brilliant engineer armed with remarkable IT acumen. Personality-wise, he's the antithesis of Haru, introverted and a tad awkward in social interactions. Having faced rejection from Dragon's Bank due to his communication challenges, he joins forces with Haru, sharing in the colossal ambition of earning that elusive $1 trillion.
So elusive.
So elusive.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to get it.
I know. Can I join?
Yeah.
I have room for more.
They're going to join the high-stakes Mahjong world.
So this is Madhouse, obviously one of the biggest anime studios.
Yeah.
in the world.
One of the best, yeah.
And based off a manga that is pretty popular. It looks kind of the art style is interesting, and we'll see. It looks like it's going to be something I wouldn't expect to be in this season.
Okay.
Along with, have you heard about negative positive angler? All right. The story follows Tsunohiro Sasaki, a depressed college student burdened with debt and being told that he only has 2 years left to live. After falling into the sea while on the run from debt collectors, Tsunohiro is rescued by his friends Hana and Takaki, and soon becomes hooked on fishing himself. So he gets saved by people fishing, basically. Fishing. That wasn't actually explained. That was I don't know.
I was like, strange connection.
Yes. But this is a fishing anime.
Fishing anime.
So I think this is going to appeal to a lot of people.
Get Brett back in here. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think this is going to be one that appeals to a lot of people.
Man, this season is so stacked, bro.
So
There's-
stacked.
There's also like there's another spin-off of Seven Deadly Sins. I mean, who could possibly care? But
Fishing
some people
anime,
do.
Mahjong anime.
There's also
Weird, creepy
there's a-
assassin slave animes.
There's so many marriages this
So
is a
many
season.
marriages.
I
many
can't keep up.
marriages.
It's a stacked season.
It's a stacked season. There's also another Sword Art Online season.
Oh, wow.
There is stuff going on here, people. But look, we could sit here for hours doing this because literally this season is just that stacked. Very, very exciting and such a breath of fresh air after really one of the weakest seasons we've had in a long, long time. Hit us up in the comments wherever you may be listening and or watching. YouTube comments. Hit us up on Instagram. We'll post a few things on Instagram, just some stories about some of the things that we've missed and some other little like maybe check these out. Comment, interact. We always love to hear your thoughts. Love getting emails. You can email us at hello@gatewaytoanime.com. Love hearing about what you guys are watching. Had some great conversations with people over the email over the years. So please hit us up there. Otherwise, of course, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. And like I say, please do leave a review. 5 stars is all you need to do. But if you want to write something nice too, really does help. If you really like what we're doing, you can find us on Patreon. You can join for as little as $1.50 a month. Really does help.
And once again, a massive thank you to this episode's sponsor, Makari. Check the link out in the bio. Thanks again for sponsoring us. And good night, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Okay, I don't see
I
ya.
don't know. I don't know when
Auf
you're watching this.
Wiedersehen, goodbye.
If it's not good night, then good day to you. Wow.
No, well, guys, thanks so much again. And hey, catch you all next time. Have a good one.